What was the fate of the Sultan's concubines after his death? The Sultan had several hundred concubines who were considered slaves, not family members. These women were either sold or captured during raids from regions such as Circassia, Armenia, the Caucasus, Russia, the Ukraine, Bosnia, and the Greek islands. Their large numbers were managed and disciplined by black eunuchs, who were African men bought as freshly cut children from Arab traders and raised in Istanbul. This practice was part of a broader culture of harem slavery, which persisted in Ottoman Turkey into the early 20th century. Even after the legal abolition of slavery, the sale and retention of Circassian girl slaves in men's harems continued until the proclamation of Kemal Ataturk's Turkish Republic. A poem written by a woman in the 1910s for a women's magazine illustrates the lingering impact of this practice. Legally, slaves had no rights against their masters. Although some exaggerated that entire harems were executed upon a sultan's death, there were instances where large numbers of women were indeed killed. For example, Sultan Ibrahim the Mad had about 280 women drowned in the Bosphorus in a fit of jealousy. Similarly, Grand Vizier Bayraktar Mustafa Pasha drowned 100 women to ensure there was no male heir to Mustafa IV, protecting Mahmud II's candidacy. Sultan Murad IV was known for his fundamentalist religious views and mass executions. He ordered women he saw playing music or dancing in public to be drowned. Eunuchs acting on behalf of the Sultan periodically executed women for various reasons, including jealousy, palace intrigues, and accusations of witchcraft. The grim sight of women being tightly bound in sacks and thrown into the Bosporus was noted by many visitors to Istanbul. The harem women, many of whom were originally Christian captives, were acutely aware of these atrocities. Letters from an English merchant in the 1580s describe influential sultanas in the harem as protectors of the oppressed. Safiye Sultan, a favored wife of Murad III, arranged the execution of an influential eunuch who had developed a penchant for executing harem women on trivial pretexts. She was also known for freeing many war captives after hearing of Christian massacres in Hungary. Nurbanu Sultan, the Valid Sultan, Queen Mother, of the time, intervened to stop the execution of women by eunuchs, threatening the chief black eunuch with her son's wrath. Giving men casual power over the lives of women often led to tragic outcomes. For instance, Ali Pasha of Janina's mass drowning of immoral women in the early 1800s was largely motivated by personal revenge. Ottoman mass executions were often irregular and driven by religious fervor during times of hardship, much like the execution of commanders who lost battles. Concubines typically had limited interactions with the Sultan, often sleeping with him only once in their lives. Those who conceived were elevated to a higher status as khadans, ladies. However, some sultans ignored these protocols, indulging in more personal relationships with their concubines, while others favored monogamy, neglecting the harem's traditional role. After the abolition of fratricide in 1666, brothers of the ruling sultan lived in confinement and could have intercourse with concubines who had been surgically neutered. If a concubine became pregnant despite these measures, she was drowned. Male slaves attending these confined members had their eardrums punctured and tongues slit to prevent intrigues. Most concubines did not conceive and, if fortunate, were married off to palace officials, gaining legal freedom and a respectable place in society. Those less fortunate were sent to the Old Palace in Istanbul, a remote location no longer used as a royal residence, where they lived out their days in retirement.